While that is a personal obligation, it does not reflect well upon the party and is one of a myriad of missteps and misstatements on the part of Mr. Millett since his election, which indicate that he does not support the ARP, its platform, nor did he support the Republican candidate for president, Mitt Romney. Mr. Millett hosts a political website and internet radio show located at www.alaskatalksliberty.com, in which he is the featured personality. On his homepage is a photo of Mr. Millett and a call to action that states, quote, "Donate to Alaska Talks Liberty," unquote. The chair-elect of the Alaska Republican Party should not be raising funds for a competing political organization when, as finance chair, his primary responsibility is raising money for electing Republican candidates. These activities by the chair-elect do not in any way promote the Alaska Republican Party, our candidates, or elected legislators. Mr. Millett has been both derelict and dishonest in representing himself as a lifelong Republican. He has failed to perform his duties as finance chair. He has acted with hostility towards the ARP by raising funds for a competing political organization, and he has embarrassed the ARP. Mr. Millett should be removed from the office by the SEC. He has clearly demonstrated through his actions and comments that he has neither skills nor the aptitude to lead the party. And that's the end of the charges.
Having the charges read, Mr. Millett, are you view yourself as guilty or not guilty of those charges?
I'm guilty.
At this time, I would like to give Mr. McQuarrie the opportunity to make his opening comments for 3 minutes.
My reopening comments, try to make this sound logical because we've had so much intermediate commentary.
Mr. Chairman, the parliamentarian.
Thank you. Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, unless the hearing agenda has been changed, the opening statements are 5 minutes each.
We contracted them to 3. What we adopted the other day, sir.
So that was officially amended.
Yeah, that was what we adopted, a 3-3, and then we changed the document that you probably saw last. I'm sorry.
My apologies.
Okay, thank you.
Could I get a copy of that? I'm familiar with the rules of the day.
You were given that they are unchanged from what they were.
On the 17th?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the notes from the assistant secretary from the proceedings was 3 minutes for the opening statements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
For my opening statement, I will just remind folks of a couple of things. One, this is not a court of law, and if the Honorable Attorney would look around, he would observe that our humble abode doesn't even appear to be a court of law. This is a hearing, and it's a hearing about what the SEC, acting basically as a board of directors for the Alaska Republican Party, is going to do about the complaints that Mr. Millett has not performed the duties to which he was committed and to which he committed himself when he was elected. The pseudo-legalistic approach here, they're trying to ignore one thing, and that is that this has been all the way to the Supreme Court that political parties have the right to discriminate and choose the people that are going to lead them. Now, Mr. Millett was elected at the convention. At that time, he committed himself to demonstrate and participate in party activities and learn what was necessary to lead the party. My charge is, one, not as Mr. Wayne Anthony Ross said publicly, that I've charged him with not being a lifelong Republican. That one charge was that he misrepresented himself at the convention. He did not tell people that he had only joined the party on the 17th of February. He didn't say he had resigned from the party before because he had objections. So there was misrepresentation there. Our president was impeached because of not participating in Watergate, but in lying about it and trying to hide what happened. We have the duty and the responsibility as the effectively board of directors of this party to protect the reputation and the activities of the party. Mr. Millett has continuously made allegations that he was prevented from getting information that he needed. I would point out that all of you saw on the 31st of May last year where I wrote a lengthy memo to Mr. Millett when he asked for audits. And I explained to him that if he wanted an audit, he was perfectly okay to do that. He couldn't walk in here and take the books off to some fly-by-night outfit, but if a licensed, recognized, certified public accounting firm was engaged, that he was welcome to do so. But that in point of fact that it was kind of a wasted effort and would be a waste of a lot of money that he would have to raise, because all of our records are public. All of our donors show up on the APOC or FEC lists. All of our expenses are reported. We are the most transparent organization in the state of Alaska.
10 seconds.
And we are engaged in trying to continue to be the most effective political organization in the state of Alaska, because over the last 10 years we have prevailed and gotten about a 65,000 vote advantage over the Democrats. Nobody can run in most districts in Alaska as anything but a Republican and expect to get elected. Mr. Millett will not advance that cause.
Mr. Millett, your defendant opening.
Do I have a chance to ask questions of Mr. McQuarrie sometime?
Yes, you will. Let me read. I assume you have the script, but I will share. Plaintiff, 3-minute opening. Defendant, 3-minute opening. Presentation of case.
All right, thank you. I see.
Okay, thank you.
Point of clarification, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
If we are not a court, then we ought not be calling them plaintiffs and defendants.
Complainant to respondent.
Okay. Point noted. Thank you. Is the respondent ready to make their opening comment?
The respondent has submitted his comments in writing, and unfortunately, due to the moving up of this hearing, he hasn't been able to get them to the people that are participating telephonically, but he has passed them out to those present in the room. And that,
Are they available in a digital format that we can forward them to the people
we
participating?
intend to forward them after this hearing, but we haven't had a chance to do it now.
I suspect that they are in an electronic format now.
At my office,
You have someone at your office that could email them to
not
me?
at this time of day.
You let your staff go home early?
They get there at 6 in the morning.
That is genuinely unhelpful, sir.
If you got somebody to scan it, they could do it, but that's a lot of work.
Mr. Ross, would you care to share with us what this document says so the people on the phone have a chance to know?
Well, I don't have any problem with Mr. Millett outlining what the document says.
Please.
Is there another copy of the document for this SEC?
Liz, do you have another copy?
You can have mine.
Oh, you've got script.
And Ralph needs a copy.
I got one.
Oh, you do have one, sir.
Thank you. I've got it.
We need one.
If you're in the SEC and a voting member, would you please raise your hand?
How does that work on the phone?
Double check.
Well, Rex, what we're going to do is have him go through the document, give him a little more time because of the inefficiency of how they presented it. And when you have an additional, let me clarify. Is this your opening statement or your opening statement and your presentation of your...
I would say it's probably both.
Okay, can we get a summary? I have one from someone. Is this correct?
Well, I can summarize it if you want to just do it quickly.
I'd appreciate that.
Okay, Mr. Millett has
My
responded
purpose
to
is,
this.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
for my purposes, I'm very comfortable with Mr. Wayne Ross as a notable attorney in the state of Alaska summarizing what his document is. I'm very comfortable with that.
Thank you for that affirmative statement.
Was that Mr. Shadak?
He probably hadn't hired
God
you
bless
recently.
you, Mr. Shadak. I knew I liked you.
Onward.
Yes, sir. Mr. Millett's statement indicates that his problems that he has with these actions, that he thinks that these actions are attempting to thwart the will and decisions of those people that spent hard-earned money to come to the state convention, that the complaint is damaging to his reputation and it hurts the ARP, and he makes specific responses to the allegations. First of all, Mr. Millett is accused of misrepresenting who he was and what his history was. At the time he was a candidate for the chair of the Republican Party, Mr. Millett points out that he's been a lifelong Republican over 44 years, starting with campaign work for Barry Goldwater, Ronald Reagan, etc. In 2008, he changed his registration to undeclared for a time, then re-registered as a Republican to participate in the 2010 and 2012 state conventions. He's dedicated to the party. The allegation he refused to participate in raising funds, even though his appointed duty to serve as a state finance chair. He points out that he had difficulty obtaining documents and reports. He goes into some detail on that. He says he's been denied access to information and tools he needed for fundraising, was never introduced to even one single party donor, or shared the donor list. He had to ask several times in writing for financial information and records and didn't get them. He has concerns about there not being audited for the last 12 years.
1 minute.
And he had the reservation about accepting money because donors question how well the party accounts for his money. He hosts a political website and does not believe why it's any problem with hosting that and being chairman. And he responds to the allegation of failure to report fundraising activities to the Alaska Public Offices Commission.
30 seconds.
Absolutely it.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I'd like to move forward and have Mr. McQuarrie present his case.
10 minutes. Is it 10 minutes? 15.
In order to advance things, I will not take the full 15 minutes. It should take me no more than 6 or 7 minutes to go through it. We heard a lot of this at the last meeting, and I'm sure it's fresh on most folks' minds. I do want to go back again just to reiterate why we're here and under what legal format we can make this decision and why we should make the decision. The pseudo-legalistic environment is saying that there's some external law or rule that would prevent the Republican Party from choosing who its leaders would be. Now, we all know that Mr. Millett was elected at the convention. That's not a fact that's contested here. But he was elected at that convention based on representations of who and what he was and his devotion and loyalty to the party and the party platforms and his willingness to support party candidates. The position of chair-elect, an elected position, also included the appointed position as the chair of the Finance Committee and the responsibility to actively engage in raising funds to help get candidates elected. We were extremely successful. We managed to take back the Senate. Things are looking very good in that respect in the state of Alaska. Mr. Millett was no help. Mr. Millett claims that he has been prevented from getting information. As I just said in my opening summary, that is patently ridiculous. It's a misrepresentation of the facts. When Mr. Millett implied in public, in the media, not to the SEC, not to the SCC, but to the media, that the art books needed to be audited, the implication was that there was something strange going on. In spite of the fact that we had told him, and I followed up later with a memo in great detail, where he could go in the public arena, on the internet, online, to see every transaction that had taken place in the ARP for many, many years. He chose not to do that and continue making allegations and asking, as he just asked again, for an audit. An audit is a technical term. It's a very expensive thing. If you hire a certified public accountant to do an audit, probability for the numbers of years he was talking about, we would have been talking about tens of thousands